These are the dumbest things Chris Griffin has ever done. Number 1. Ever since his first appearance in Season 3, Herbert has made it very clear that he wants Chris for more than just delivering his paper.
Got a nice tip for you right here in my pocket for my arthritis. Why don't you reach in there and fish it out for yourself?
But whilst a few other characters have clocked on to the man's ways,
That's a mighty full sack you're carrying.
Off, you perverted old freak!
Chris doesn't have the sense to realize that the creepy old man has been making some less than subtle advances over the years.
It's bath day for me, but I can't wash myself. Know anybody with a pair of strong young hands to help me in and out of the tub? Oh, rats!
Number 2. Chris lands himself in hot water when he sends an inappropriate photo to one of his female classmates.
He's just a teenager who made a bad choice.
I don't know what to say, but the laws just haven't caught up to how cool kids are now. I'm sorry, but this makes Chris a sex offender.
With his reputation ruined, Chris decides to take pills to chemically castrate himself, which ends up increasing his intelligence and improving his performance in school.
Not thinking about all the time seems to have allowed Chris to excel in other areas.
He does seem sharper. Heck, the old Chris couldn't even figure out the self-checkout at the supermarket.
The cutaway that follows shows just how stupid Chris has been previously and how easily his lack of common sense can get him into trouble.
Please put the bag over your head and tighten.
Number 3. Feeling like their life has improved so much whilst on holiday in Europe, Peter takes a huge leap and decides to relocate the family permanently.
Let's start a new life right here in Italy.
Peter, those were our passports.
When they realize that they don't have enough money to continue living there, they are forced to go through the nightmare of regaining their passports from the consulate.
Your family must take a citizenship test and go through the immigration process like any other foreigner.
Foreigner? We're not foreigners.
It isn't much of a challenge to the family when they are asked to sing the Star-Spangled Banner, except for Chris, who has the wrong idea of which song the national anthem is.
At the twilight's last gleaming.
And I will always love you.
Number 4. Peter's excitement at finding home videos of himself as a teenager doesn't last long when he hears his younger hopes.
I just hope to God you're not stuck in some loser job like in a brewery or a toy factory or a fishing boat. Oh boy.
After seeing similarities in the videos, Peter realizes that Chris is at risk of becoming just like him.
I'm saying, Chris, I am gonna make sure that you grow up to be a success.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a success.
Like father, like son. The pair prove they are as dumb as each other when they fail to recognize what a toaster is.
Computer, what does success mean?
Chris, let me know when you're done with the computer.
Number 5. Thanks to work, Peter has to travel the world on business trips. Taking in everything each destination has to offer, Peter becomes a more refined man.
My brain is awash with theorems and profundity and abstractions that I can pontificate upon at length.
Chris isn't just uncomfortable with the changes in his dad's vocabulary, he's also lost with the changes made around the house.
Mom, Dad, the TV's broken.
Actually, Chris, I got rid of our television.
But his stupidity is best shown when he doesn't even know the word for his own name.
How are all your business trips?
Oh, exemplary, Chris.
I don't understand what either of those words mean.
One of them was Chris.
Number 6. Stewie goes to Chris's room to discuss seeing him get bullied, but instead he gets the shock of his life when he spots his fish tank.
I wanted to talk about what happened at school. Is that a dead gerbil in there?
Chris, none the wiser, explains that it's actually a different type of animal.
That's a fur fish. It's a weird species.
Not only is Chris naive enough to believe that that's the name of the animal, but he's also dumb enough to not realize that he's drowned it.
You put them in there and they swim like hell for like 30 seconds and then they go to sleep. This joker still hasn't woken up. Get up, lazy!
Number 7. When Brian storms away from the dinner table after an argument with Peter, Chris senses the opportunity to try his hand at one of the notorious cutaway gags.
Wow, this is the craziest meal I've had since I had lunch at Tommy Sullivan's house.
The cutaway proves pretty lackluster, with nothing being added to the story or humor of the scene.
Very good macaroni and cheese, Mrs. Sullivan.
Thank you, Chris.
You know you failed when even Peter comments on how badly you've done. Chris just can't handle the clever jokes yet.
That was just awful, Chris.
Terrible.
He is not ready for flashbacks.
No, he is not.
Number 8. After finding out that Chris is failing miserably at history in school, Stewie and Brian decide to travel back in time to help him.
All right, Chris, I reviewed your textbook and I've programmed a tour of the various historical events that you'll need to know for your exam. So pay close attention.
The real proof of his lack of knowledge comes when he boards one of the world's most famous ships without knowing its name.
Hey, Stewie! If I'm such a moron, then how did I get on a fancy boat?
He not only doesn't know the name, but he also has no clue that the ship sank and the danger that he's put himself in.
Chris, we've got to get off this boat. The Titanic was one of the biggest disasters in history.
Well, if you're so worried, why don't you alert the crew and save everyone?
Number 9. In an attempt to make sure his son doesn't turn into a slacker, Peter gives Chris an important job whilst on a father-son camping trip.
Hey, Chris, you are responsible for guarding the camp while we're fishing.
You got it, Dad. You can count on me to...
It seems like a simple task, but Chris doesn't manage to stop a bunch of raccoons from stealing their dinner, making matters worse by drawing the event.
I put you in charge of the food.
The raccoons were here, see? Ooh, we're a bunch of sneaky little animals. We're gonna wreck this food and eat it because we're naughty.
It's not the only animal he's had trouble with, as it's also revealed in the same episode that Chris doesn't even have the mental capacity to look after a pet goldfish.
Oh my God, my fish is gone! And he robbed me!
Number 10. Chris befriends Franz Herbert, a puppeteer, but things take a nasty turn when he stumbles into the wrong room.
What the?
With his biggest secret revealed, Franz holds Chris and Peter at gunpoint before locking them in the basement.
You're not gonna get away with this, Mr. Google Search.
Oh, but I think that I will.
But when the opportunity presents itself to free them, Chris, in possibly his dumbest moment ever, can't tell which of the two is his dad.
Wait, we don't even look the same.
All right, when's my birthday?
Ah, crap.
February 8th.
Ah!
Dad!